My billionaire son humiliated the janitor at the party. He just did not know that the poor man was me. My name is Arthur Vance. I am 62 years old, and I am going to tell you what happened 6 months ago. A story that changed my life and the lives of everyone around me. But let me paint the picture for you, so you can understand the size of the hole I got myself into. I was on my knees scrubbing the floor of a party hall in Manhattan, wearing a blue janitor uniform, with a fake mustache that itched my nose every 5 seconds, and brown contact lenses hiding my blue eyes, which are known on every business magazine cover in the country. Arthur Vance, founder of one of the largest companies in the United States, disguised as a cleaning employee, at my own son's engagement party. Yeah, you can laugh, I deserve it. That was when I heard the sound of furious heels coming in my direction. And when I say furious, I mean really furious. It sounded like a hammer hitting the marble floor. Each step was a sentence. I looked up and saw Vanessa, my son's fiancée, marching toward me, golden dress shining under the chandeliers, a dress that, by the way, I had paid for, engagement gift. And by the expression on her face, the gift had not come with gratitude.
It was you.
She pointed her finger in my face as if I were a federal criminal. I looked around. There was no one else there. It was me, all right. Sorry, ma'am, but I did not.
Do not lie to me. You bumped into me and spilled wine on my dress. Look at this. It is completely ruined.
I looked at her dress. There was a tiny stain near the hem, the size of a coin. If you blinked, you would not even notice. But by her reaction, you would think I had poured a gallon of red paint on the fabric. Ma'am, with all due respect, I was here cleaning the floor. I did not get near you at any moment.
How dare you talk back? People like you do not speak, you just obey.
The guests started to gather around. A circle formed around us. Cell phones appeared in hands. Of course, no one misses the chance to film a scene at a gala party. Vanessa looked at the audience and realized she had an audience. Her eyes sparkled. She was in her element.
Did you all see this? This janitor ruined my imported dress, a dress that is worth more than he makes in an entire year.
The audience murmured in solidarity. Poor rich girl with her microscopic stain. I tried once more. Ma'am, I really did not.
I told you to be quiet.
She grabbed a glass of red wine from the tray of a passing waiter. For a second, I thought she was going to drink it to calm down. How naive I was. The entire glass flew into my face. The wine hit my eyes, ran down my nose, dripped onto my uniform, splashed on the floor I had just cleaned. I stood there, paralyzed, feeling the cold liquid run down my neck and into my shirt collar. The fake mustache almost came off with the impact. The audience let out exclamations. Some laughed, others kept filming. An older lady shook her head in disapproval, but I do not know if it was for Vanessa or for me.
This is so you learn to be more careful. People like you should not even exist at events of this level.
I stayed there, on my knees, with wine running down my chin, smelling like fermented grapes, praying that the contact lenses would not come out of place, looking at that golden dress that I myself had bought. Engagement gift. What gratitude. You know what my first thought was? That bottle had cost $800. I knew because I had approved the beverage list. $800 of wine decorating my face. That was when I saw Julian approaching. My son, 32 years old. Tall, handsome, blue eyes the same as mine. He made his way through the guests with that confidence of someone who owns the world. My heart raced. This was it. My son was going to see the scene, understand that his fiancée had gone too far, and put order to the situation. Maybe even help me get up. Maybe apologize on her behalf. Julian stopped in front of me. He looked at me, covered in wine. He looked at Vanessa with a victim face. He looked at the audience of guests filming, and he started to laugh. It was not a nervous laugh. It was a mocking laugh. Loud, cruel, as if he had just seen the most pathetic and hilarious scene of his life.
Everyone, look at this. The janitor decided to take a wine bath in the middle of the party.
His friends laughed along. Vanessa opened a satisfied smile. I swallowed hard and tried to speak. Sir, I did not do anything. The lady spilled the wine by herself and...
Wait a second.
Julian raised his hand, asking for silence, and turned to his friends with a theatrical expression of astonishment.
Did you all hear that? The janitor is talking back. He's arguing. Where has that ever been seen?
More laughter. I'm just trying to explain that.
My friend, I'm going to give you some free advice, all right? Pay attention because I am not going to repeat it.
He bent down a little as if he were going to talk to a child. Our eyes met. My son looked directly at me, and he did not recognize me.
People of your class do not deserve attention. You are here to clean, not to talk. So grab that mop, clean up this mess, and get out of my sight before you ruin something else. Are we understood?
He said that looking through me, as if I were transparent, as if I were part of the furniture. My own son. And you know what is the worst part? It was not because of the disguise. It was not because of the contact lenses, or the fake mustache, or the blue cap from the cleaning company. It was because Julian never in his entire life truly looked at someone he considered inferior. To him, a janitor was invisible, a ghost, a thing. I could have stood there waving all night and he would not have recognized me, because he simply did not see people like me, or rather, people like he thought I was. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Mr. Jorge, a coworker I had met just a few hours ago, appeared out of nowhere.
Come on, buddy. Get away from this. It is not worth it.
I let him pull me away. Behind us, the laughter continued. Vanessa's voice complaining about the dress, the murmur of the guests commenting on the spectacle. When we reached the service area, away from everyone, Mr. Jorge handed me a clean cloth.
Wipe your face, friend. Do not let it get to you. These rich people are all the same. They think they can look down on others just because they have a fortune in the bank.
I almost choked on the irony. Yeah, you're right.
First time working at a high society party, right? I can tell by the look of surprise on your face. But relax, it's not always like this. Sometimes there's even a tip. Once a lady gave me $20 because I found the earring she had lost. $20. I bought a lot of stuff with that money.
$20. I had spent $200,000 on that party. $200,000 to watch my son treat me like I didn't exist. What a wonderful investment. I sat on a crate and stayed silent. My head was spinning. The wine was drying on my face and starting to tighten my skin. The smell of grapes had soaked into the uniform. Mr. Jorge sat next to me.
Want a vent? Sometimes it helps to let it out.
I looked at him. That simple man in a worn blue uniform earning a fraction of what I spent on coffee had more humanity than my son with all his millions. Maybe later. Right now I just need to think a little.
All right, buddy. I'll be around if you need anything. And don't mind that arrogant young man. People like that learn eventually. They always learn.
He gave a pat on my shoulder and went back to his life. I stayed there alone, staring at the floor. Mr. Jorge was right about one thing. People like that learn eventually. And Julian was going to learn. That very same night. But before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand how I got here. How a 62-year-old billionaire decided to disguise himself as a janitor at his own son's engagement party. And why that humiliation was only the beginning of a night that none of us would ever forget. Buckle up. This story is just getting started. A month before the wine and the face party, I was in my private office, watching my son treat people like they were furniture. And the worst part? I was eating popcorn. But let me explain how I got to this point. It all started with a phone call. It was a regular Tuesday. I was reviewing contracts when my cell phone rang. On the screen, Julian. My heart even warmed up. My son calling me in the middle of the workday? What a pleasant surprise. I answered on the first ring. Julian, how good to hear your voice, son.
Hi, Dad, how are you? Wait a second.
And then he just disappeared. I heard muffled voices on the other end. He was talking to someone else. I stayed there, holding the phone, waiting. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Julian, are you there?
Yes, sorry. It's just that I'm dealing with some things here. So, Dad, here's the thing. I'm going to ask Vanessa to marry me. We're planning an engagement party at the Grand Palace. Big thing, you know? 400 guests, full buffet, imported decorations.
Son, what wonderful news. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. So the reason for the call, the budget turned out a little higher than expected.
So that's what this was about. How much do you need, son?
Actually, it would be easier if you covered everything. The Grand Palace charges $200,000 for the complete package. But it's an investment, Dad. There will be a lot of important people there. Businessmen, investors. Think of it as a networking strategy.
$200,000, and he was selling me his engagement party as a business meeting. Of course, son. I'll pay for everything. Consider it my engagement gift.
Great. I'll have Vanessa send you the catering company's bank details. Oh, and Dad?
Yes?
The party is a month from now. Saturday, 8 in the evening, formal attire. You're invited, obviously. I need to confirm the numbers for the catering, so let me know soon if you're coming or not.
You're invited, obviously. I was going to pay $200,000, and the obviously was that I was invited. Of course I'll go, son. I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Great. Write this down. Grand Palace, Saturday, 8 in the evening. I have to hang up. Meeting in 5 minutes. Take care.
And he hung up. I sat there staring at the phone in silence. The call had lasted exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I know because I kept staring at the screen for another 30 seconds, processing what had just happened. My son was getting engaged. I was going to pay for the entire party. And even so, I was just another item on his to-do list. That's when something started eating at me inside. A suspicion I had been pushing under the rug for months finally rose to the surface. I turned my chair and looked at the wall of monitors in my office. I have access to the security cameras of all the company's branches. I had never used them to watch anyone. But that day, driven by an instinct I couldn't explain, I typed in the code for the executive floor, and I started watching. The first scene was in the main hallway. Julian walking with that stride of someone who owns the universe. The receptionist, Miss Martha, a 60-year-old woman who has worked with us for 2 decades, raised her hand to greet him. "Good morning, Mr. Julian." Julian walked right past, didn't even turn his face. Miss Martha kept her hand in the air for 3 seconds before lowering it, embarrassed. I felt a tightness in my chest. I switched to another camera. Conference room. Julian was standing, gesturing at his executive assistant, Claire. There was no audio, but I didn't need it. The body language said it all. He was pointing at her, then at some papers, shaking his head. Claire was shrunk in her chair, nodding frantically. At one point, Julian threw a folder on the table so hard that Claire jumped. He stormed out of the room, slamming the door. My stomach turned. I switched cameras again. 3rd floor hallway. Cleaning crew working. 2 employees, blue uniforms, cleaning carts. Julian was walking in their direction, and then something happened that made me want to reach through the screen. The 2 employees politely stepped aside to let him pass. One of them even nodded in greeting. Julian passed between them as if walking through a cloud of smoke, without looking, without nodding, without any acknowledgement that there were 2 human beings standing there. To him, they were invisible. Ghosts. I turned off the monitors and sank into my chair. The truth hit me like a punch. That arrogance hadn't come from nowhere. It was a mirror, a distorted reflection of my own mistakes. I had created that monster, with my absence, with my expensive gifts replacing hugs, with my silence when I should have been teaching values. I sat there, in the darkness of my office, thinking. And then, out of nowhere, a completely crazy idea popped into my head. What if I became one of those ghosts? What if I took off the billionaire suit and put on a janitor's uniform? What if I showed up in front of my son as one of the people he ignores every day? Would he recognize me? Would he treat me differently? Or would he prove that I had failed as a father? The idea was absurd, risky, completely insane. I loved it. I picked up the phone and called my secretary. "Sandra, I need you to find the contact information for the outsourced cleaning company that's going to work at Julian's engagement party."
Mr. Vance, may I ask why?
"No."
Understood, sir. Anything else?
"Yes. I need brown contact lenses, a convincing fake mustache, and a large-sized janitor uniform." The silence on the other end of the line was eloquent.
Mr. Vance, are you all right?
"I've never been better, Sandra. Never been better." I hung up and smiled for the first time that day. Arthur Vance was about to become a janitor, and Julian Vance was going to get the surprise of his life. What I didn't know is that the biggest surprise, in the end, would be mine. While Sandra was running around looking for contact lenses and fake mustaches, I sat in my office staring at a photo on my desk. My 2 children, side by side, smiling. The last time they smiled together was 7 years ago, at Christmas, and it only lasted until dessert. Let me tell you about them. Maya is my oldest daughter, 37 years old. She was born from my first marriage when I had nothing but dreams, a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, and a refrigerator that made a strange noise every time someone opened the door. Back then, I worked 18 hours a day, trying to build my company. I would wake up before the sun rose and come back after it had already gone to sleep. My ex-wife Rebecca raised Maya practically by herself. I missed her first step, her first word, her first day of school, her first theater performance. I missed everything. When Maya was 3 years old, Rebecca handed me the divorce papers. I can't blame her. She had a husband on paper, but a ghost in practice. But I never abandoned my daughter financially. Since the divorce, Maya receives a generous allowance. I still pay it today, even though she is 37 years old. I gave her access to the best schools, courses, universities. She could have been a lawyer, a doctor, an executive. She could have followed any career. But Maya chose to be a public school teacher. Not because she had no other options, because of her calling. She works in an underprivileged community because she loves teaching, because she loves helping, because she believes that education transforms lives. Rebecca did an extraordinary job. Maya learned humility, generosity, and empathy from her mother, values that I did not teach because I was too busy chasing zeros in my bank account. My daughter had every opportunity in the world and chose to serve. That says everything about her character. Now Julian. Julian is another story. He is 5 years younger than Maya, 32 years old, son from my second marriage. When Julian was born, I was already a millionaire. The company had exploded, I was on magazine covers, and I finally had time and money to be present. But here's the problem. I did not know how to be present. I only knew how to compensate. Missed the school play? Buy a video game. Did not go to the soccer game? Buy imported sneakers. Forgot the birthday? Buy a car. Yes, I gave a car to my 16-year-old son because I forgot his birthday. It was a red convertible. He crashed it in 2 weeks. I bought another one. My second wife Helena and I thought we were being good parents. After all, Julian had everything. Private school, designer clothes, international trips, generous allowance. What he did not have was limits, or consequences, or any notion that the world did not revolve around him. The result? I raised a man who believes that status defines human value, that money buys respect, that people without wealth are invisible. And the worst part? The relationship between my 2 children is a disaster. I remember a Thanksgiving dinner about 3 years ago. Maya had just returned from a missionary trip. She spent 2 weeks building houses for underprivileged families in the countryside. She was radiant telling about the experience.
It was incredible, Dad. The children were so grateful for so little. It made me rethink everything about what really matters in life.
Julian rolled his eyes so hard that I thought they were going to fall onto his plate.
How lovely, Maya. You went to build little houses for poor people. Very noble. Meanwhile, I closed a $3 million contract for the company. But of course, the important thing is for you to feel good about yourself.
Julian, it is not a competition.
Of course it is not. Because if it were, you would be losing. Tell me, how much do you make per month again? Working at that little school? With all the courses that Daddy paid for, you chose that.
Julian, that is enough.
What, Dad? I am just stating facts. Maya is a failure by choice. That is even worse. She had everything in her hands and threw it away to play teacher.
Maya did not respond. She just got up from the table, grabbed her coat, and left. It was Thanksgiving, and my daughter spent the rest of the night alone. I should have done something. I should have put Julian in his place. I should have defended Maya. But I stayed silent, because confronting Julian meant admitting that I had created that his arrogance was my fault, and I was not ready for that conversation. Coward? Absolutely. Guilty? Completely. And now my son was going to marry Vanessa. Ah, Vanessa. I met her about 8 months ago when Julian brought her to dinner at the house. Beautiful, elegant, perfect smile, and eyes that sparkled every time someone mentioned money. During the entire dinner, she asked 3 questions. How many houses I had, what was the estimated value of the company, and if Julian was my only heir. My only heir. In front of my daughter swallowed hard and continued eating in silence. Julian did not even notice, or he noticed and did not care. When they left, Maya helped me wash the dishes, in silence. But before leaving, she said something that kept hammering in my head.
Dad, do you not find it strange that she never asks anything about Julian, about his dreams, his fears, his stories? She only asks about numbers.
She was right. Vanessa did not love Julian. Vanessa loved what Julian represented, access to my fortune. And Julian, blinded by passion, did not see any of that. Or maybe he saw it and did not care. Maybe for him, love was just another transaction. I looked again at the photo on my desk. 2 children. One had everything and chose to serve. The other had everything and chose to serve himself. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. My phone rang. It was Sandra.
Mr. Vance? I got everything. Lenses, mustache, uniform, and the contact for the cleaning company. The supervisor is named Emmanuel. He agreed to let you work one night. He found it strange, but he agreed.
Perfect, Sandra. Thank you.
Mr. Vance, may I ask one last question?
You may.
Are you absolutely sure you want to do this?
I looked at the photo one more time. I am Sandra. I need to find out who my son really is. What I did not expect was to discover, that very same night, who I really was too. The day of the party arrived. And there I was, Arthur Vance, 62 years old, worth billions, standing in front of an industrial warehouse in Brooklyn. Brown contact lenses hiding my blue eyes, fake mustache glued to my face, simple clothes that Sandra had bought especially for the occasion. If my shareholders saw me at that moment, the stock would plummet before lunch. I took a deep breath and walked in. The cleaning company office was exactly what you would imagine, a small room with a noisy fan, motivational posters peeling off the wall, and a persistent smell of lavender cleaning product. Behind a metal desk, a heavy-set man with a gray mustache was looking at me suspiciously. The badge said, Emmanuel, supervisor.
So you are the volunteer?
That is right. Robert Smith. Nice to meet you, Robert Smith. The most generic name Sandra could come up with. She wanted to use John Smith, but I thought that was too much.
Let me see if I understand. You want to work for free, an entire night at a fancy party in Manhattan without getting paid anything.
Correct.
Why? Good question. I had rehearsed the answer all week. I am thinking about opening a cleaning company. I want to understand the business from the inside before investing. Emmanuel looked me up and down. Khaki pants, faded blue polo shirt, unpolished shoes, and a mustache that I prayed looked natural. You want to start a cleaning company?
That is right.
With those hands, I looked at my hands. Manicured, moisturized, without a single callus. What is wrong with my hands? They look like hands of someone who has never washed a dish in their life.
Technically, he was not wrong. I use a lot of moisturizer. Emmanuel let out a laugh that shook his belly.
All right, Mr. Entrepreneur. If you want to work for free, who am I to stop you? Sign here, grab your uniform from the closet over there, and show up at the Grand Palace at 6 in the evening. The party starts at 8, but we arrive early to set everything up.
I signed Robert Smith with the ugliest handwriting I could manage. My real signature is worth contracts worth millions. That one looked like it belonged to a child learning how to write. I grabbed the blue uniform from the closet, denim pants, a button-down shirt with the company logo embroidered on it, a cap that had seen better days, and rubber shoes that looked like they were made before I was born.
The locker room is in the back. Change there and come back so I can give you the instructions.
I walked into the locker room. 4 tiled walls, a wooden bench, a cracked mirror, and a smell that suggested the cleaning product did not reach there very often. I put on the uniform, I put on the cap, and I looked in the mirror. I got a genuine shock. Where is Arthur Vance? Where is the powerful businessman who appeared at gala dinners, meetings with senators, press conferences? Gone. In his place, there was a tired gentleman, shoulders hunched by the uniform that did not fit well. Gray mustache. Brown eyes without shine, wrinkles I had never noticed before. I looked ordinary, invisible, someone you pass on the street and do not look at twice. Perfect. I adjusted the cap and smiled at the mirror. The fake mustache moved a little. I hoped the glue would hold through the whole night. I went back to the office. Emmanuel handed me a list of instructions and pointed to a van parked outside.
Go with the crew in that van. Joe will teach you the basics. He is a veteran, has been working with me for 15 years. If he cannot train you, nobody can.
I got on the van and sat in the back seat. There were 4 other workers inside, all in blue uniforms. They were talking and laughing with each other, clearly used to one another. And then he walked in. Jorge, 50 years old, easy smile, belly of someone who appreciates good food and a mustache. Real, not a costume piece. That made me immediately jealous. He sat next to me and extended his hand.
Hey there, buddy. You are the new guy.
I am Robert.
Jorge, but everybody calls me Joe. Nice to meet you, Robert.
His handshake was firm and honest. The kind of handshake that says a lot about a person. We arrived at the Grand Palace at 6 o'clock sharp. The ballroom was empty, but you could already see the magnitude of the party that was coming. Decorators were running from side to side. Flowers were arriving in boxes. Crystal chandeliers were being cleaned one last time. I had paid for every detail of that. But now I was just another blue uniform. Emmanuel showed up and started handing out tasks. I ended up with Joe.
All right, Robert, let us start with the basics. Grab that squeegee over there.
I grabbed the squeegee. It seemed simple enough. A long handle with rubber on the end. I held it upside down on purpose. Joe looked at me and started laughing.
Buddy, the squeegee is upside down.
I pretended to be surprised and turned the tool around. Oh, it's a different model than what I am used to.
Different model? Friend, a squeegee is a squeegee. First time doing this, right?
I sighed, getting into character. Is it that obvious?
Your hands look like a baby's, and you are holding the squeegee like it is a sword. So yes, it is pretty obvious.
I had built a billion-dollar empire, negotiated with company presidents around the world, closed deals that moved the country's economy. But there, I needed to pretend I did not even know how to hold a squeegee. Robert Smith was a rookie, and rookies do not know anything. Joe gave me a pat on the back.
Relax, rookie. Everybody starts somewhere. Come on, I will teach you the basics. Before the party starts, you will be working that thing like a professional.
He laughed at his own joke. I laughed too. And there, in that empty ballroom, dressed as a janitor, pretending to learn how to hold a squeegee with a man I had just met, I felt strangely light. Joe was patient. He taught me the correct hand position, the right angle of movement, the ideal pressure to not leave marks on the floor. He treated cleaning like an art, and I, for the first time in decades, pretended to be the student. That is it, Robert. Now you are getting the hang of it. I smiled proudly. I, Arthur Vance, was putting on a performance worthy of an award. What an achievement. But the lightness did not last long, because at 8 o'clock at night, the guests started arriving. And among them, arm in arm with Vanessa in her golden dress, smiling as if he owned the world, was Julian. My test was about to begin. The first thing I thought when I entered the ballroom was, I paid way too much for this decoration. The second thing was, nobody here has any idea who I am. I pushed my cleaning cart through the back door, trying to look natural. The front wheel was stuck and made an annoying noise on the marble floor. Every step felt like an announcement. Look at me, rookie janitor coming through. But nobody looked. Literally, nobody. I passed by 3 waiters, 2 security guards, and a woman carrying a flower arrangement the size of a child. None of them registered my existence. Joe appeared at my side, balancing a bucket with cleaning products.
So Robert, impressed with the salon?
A little bit.
First time at a party like this, right? I can tell by that fish out of water look on your face.
Is it that obvious?
Buddy, you've been staring at the ceiling for 2 minutes. An experienced janitor does not look up. The dirt is always on the floor.
He was right. I was admiring the chandeliers like a tourist in a museum. Sorry, it is beautiful.
Yes, it is, but beauty does not pay our bills. Come on, I will show you how things work around here.
Joe guided me through the ballroom, explaining the logistics. Bathrooms every 30 minutes, tables cleaned as soon as the guests get up, no prolonged eye contact, no conversation, no existing beyond what is necessary.
Rule number 1, you are invisible. Rule number 2, if someone talks to you, be brief and polite. Rule number 3, never ever under any circumstances give your opinion on anything.
And what if they ask me something?
Nobody's going to ask, Robert. Relax.
He said that so naturally that it hurt. The guests started arriving. Julian and Vanessa walked in like celebrities on a red carpet. My son greeted everyone with that rehearsed smile. I decided to run my test. I passed by him 3 times, 1 meter away, half a meter away, practically at his feet. Nothing. Julian looked through me as if I were air. My own son did not recognize me, not because the disguise was good, but because he never looked at people in uniforms. The confirmation hurt more than I expected. Joe laughed at his own joke about the invisibility club. I tried to laugh too, but I could not. A few minutes later, Emmanuel showed up and told me to go clean near the dessert table. I grabbed my mop and went. Vanessa was nearby, distracted on her phone, holding a glass of wine. I was cleaning the floor in silence, invisible as always, when I heard the sound of liquid spilling. She had spilled wine on her own golden dress. I looked up right when she looked around, searching for someone to blame. Our eyes met, and I knew at that moment that my night was about to fall apart. You already know what happened next. The accusation, the glass of wine in my face, Julian laughing, the public humiliation. I am not going to repeat every detail. It already hurt enough to tell it once. What matters is what came after. Joe dragged me to the service area at the back of the ballroom, a small room with crates, cleaning supplies, and machine coffee that tasted like dirty water with sugar. I was sitting there alone, with the wine drying on my face, when the door opened. I thought it was Joe coming back with more rags. But it was not. It was Maya. My 37-year-old daughter was standing at the door, looking at me with an expression of genuine concern. My heart raced. Could she have recognized me?
Excuse me. I saw what happened out there in the ballroom. Are you okay?
She did not recognize me. She was there because she saw a janitor being humiliated and wanted to help. I am. Thank you.
It does not look like you are. May I come in?
Before I could respond, she had already come in. She pulled up a crate and sat in front of me. Maya? My daughter. The girl I failed to raise. The incredible woman she became despite me. And there she was, in a service room, worrying about an unknown janitor while her brother's engagement party was happening on the other side of the wall.
That woman was horrible to you. I am so sorry.
It was not your fault.
I know. But someone needed to say that what happened was not right.
She was looking into my eyes, really looking, not through me, not over me, at me. I felt a lump in my throat.
What is your name?
Robert?
Nice to meet you, Robert. I'm Maya.
I know, sweetheart. I know. Nice to meet you.
Do you want some water? Or something to clean your face better? That rag is kind of dirty.
She was already on her feet, looking for something in the room. She found a water bottle and some clean napkins. She came back and knelt in front of me, my daughter, kneeling down to help a janitor.
Stay still. Let me get this wine off your face.
She wet the napkin and started cleaning my cheek carefully, with care, as if I were someone who mattered. I had to bite my tongue to keep from crying. That was the difference between my two children. Julian laughed at a humiliated man. Maya crossed the ballroom to help him. The same upbringing, the same father, completely opposite results. Or maybe it was not the same upbringing. Maya was raised by her mother. Julian was raised by my money.
There, better. Do you have a family, Robert?
The question caught me off guard. I do. 2 children.
They must be proud of you. Working this hard at your age is not easy.
I almost choked. I do not know if they are proud. We do not talk much.
That is sad. Family is important, even when it is complicated.
She smiled, a genuine smile, without malice, without hidden intentions.
Well, Robert, I need to go back to the party. But if you need anything, come find me, okay? I will be around.
She stood up and walked to the door. Before leaving, she turned around one last time.
And do not mind that woman. People like her are not worth your time.
And she left. I stayed there, alone again, holding the wet napkin my daughter had used to clean my face. Julian humiliated me without knowing who I was. Maya comforted me without knowing who I was. 2 children, 2 tests, 2 results, and the night was not over yet. Because what I would hear next would change everything. There are moments in life when you find out who people really are. Sometimes it is beautiful. Sometimes it destroys your soul. That one was of the second kind. After Maya left the little room, I stayed there for a few more minutes, processing everything. My daughter had treated me like a human being. My son had treated me like garbage. The contrast was brutal. I took a deep breath and decided to go back to work. The sooner the night ended, the better. I grabbed my mop and returned to the ballroom. The party continued as if nothing had happened. Music, laughter, champagne. For the guests, the janitor incident was already old news, fleeting entertainment. That was when I saw Julian and Vanessa. They were in a distant corner, near a large window overlooking the garden. Heads close, voices low, knowing glances. Something in my instinct went off. I grabbed a cloth and started cleaning a nearby table. Then another, and another. Getting closer and closer to the window where they stood. Joe appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, Robert, what are you doing?
Cleaning tables.
That table is already clean. You wiped it 3 times.
I am a perfectionist.
You are strange. That is what you are. Come on, let us clean the bathrooms.
Go ahead, I will be right there. Joe looked at me suspiciously, but shrugged and left. I continued my strategic approach. One more table, one more step, until I was positioned behind a decorative column less than 6 feet from Julian and Vanessa. They did not see me. Of course not. I was invisible, remember? And then I started to listen.
Darling, we need to talk about your father.
What about him?
Do you not think he is too old to run the company?
I frowned. Too old? I had closed $3 million contracts last month.
He is still doing well, Vanessa. The company is making profit.
But for how long, love? Your father is already 62 years old. He has been living alone since your mother, may God rest her soul, passed away. And he does not pass the leadership to you. Do you not find that strange?
He trusts me. He gave me partial power of attorney last year.
Partial, Julian? Partial. You should be running everything by now.
My stomach started to turn. The tone of that conversation was not one of concern. It was one of ambition.
You know, my friend Deborah works at a wonderful rest home in Connecticut. Beautiful place, huge gardens, private room.
A rest home? Vanessa, what are you suggesting?
I am suggesting that we speed up the process, love. Your father does not need to stay at the company anymore. If we could get a forged diagnosis, 2 doctors signing a report saying he is not capable of managing his own assets.
Wait. Are you talking about committing my father?
I am talking about securing our future, Julian.
My hand squeezed the cloth so hard that my fingers turned white.
I do not know, Vanessa. This seems extreme.
Extreme? Darling, your father has billions, and you are here waiting for him to decide when he will pass the baton to you. What if he never does? What if he gets married again? Have you thought about that?
I saw Julian hesitate. His eyes showed conflict.
He is not going to get married again.
Are you sure? Rich and lonely men are easy targets. A clever woman shows up, wins his heart, and suddenly you lose everything. Everything, Julian.
Ironic to hear that from her. Vanessa was describing exactly what she herself was doing with my son.
But committing him, I do not know if I can do that.
You do not have to do anything now, love. First, talk to him. Ask him to retire. Tell him it's time. If he agrees, great. If he does not agree, then we move to plan B.
And Maya?
What about her?
She is his daughter too. She could contest.
Julian, love, your sister has never cared about money. You said it yourself that she's too gentle to fight. Maya is not going to contest anything.
That is true. Maya never got involved in the family business.
So it is decided?
Julian took a deep breath. I saw the exact moment when he made his decision.
All right. After the party, I will talk to my father. I will tell him it is time for him to retire, that the company needs young leadership.
That is it, love. And if he resists?
If he resists, we will think about the next step.
I already have Deborah's contact. We just need 2 doctors willing to sign a report.
You have already thought of everything, have you not?
Someone has to think about our future, darling.
They toasted with their champagne glasses, champagne that I paid for, at the party that I financed, celebrating the plan to get rid of me. My vision went blurry, not from tears, from fury. I walked away slowly, still holding the cloth, still pretending to clean. I stumbled back to the service area. Joe was there, organizing cleaning supplies. He looked at me, and his eyes went wide.
Robert, are you okay? You are white as paper.
I am fine.
You do not look fine. You look like you saw a ghost, or worse.
My hands were shaking. I tried to hide it, but Joe noticed.
Hey, sit down here. What happened out there?
What happened? My son had just agreed to remove me from my own company. And if I resisted, his fiancée already had a plan to commit me to a clinic with a forged diagnosis. They thought I was a weak old man, an obstacle to be removed.
Robert, you are scaring me. Talk to me, partner.
I looked at Joe, that simple, honest man genuinely concerned about me, a stranger in a blue uniform. Joe, do you believe in bad people?
What do you mean?
People who seem good on the outside, but on the inside, they are rotten. Who smile at you while planning your destruction. Joe was silent for a moment.
I do, Robert. I have seen a lot of people like that at these parties. People who kiss you on the face and stab you in the back. Why do you ask?
No reason, just thinking out loud.
You know, Robert, my grandmother always used to say something. When you find out who your enemies are, be thankful, because now you can prepare yourself.
Prepare myself. Yes, that was exactly what I was going to do. I got up from the crate and straightened my back.
Are you feeling better?
I am. Much better. I looked toward the ballroom where Julian and Vanessa were still celebrating. They thought I was a helpless old man, an easy target. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Arthur Vance did not build a billion-dollar empire by being foolish. And that night, my son was going to find out the hard way. I just needed to make a phone call first. My lawyer was going to hate me, but he earned $500 an hour, so he could handle it. I left the service area and looked for a private place. I found a narrow hallway near the kitchen with a wall phone that looked like it had been installed in the 80s. Perfect. Nobody used wall phones anymore. I dialed the number of my personal lawyer, Richard Thompson. 20 years taking care of my legal matters. The man knew every penny of my fortune. The phone rang 3 times before he answered.
Hello?
His voice was hoarse, sleepy. Clearly I had woken the man up. Richard, it is Arthur.
Arthur? Arthur Vance?
How many Arthurs do you know?
Mr. Vance, it is 11 at night. Did something happen? Are you all right?
I am great. Never been better, actually.
Then why are you calling me at 11 at night?
Because I need you to make a complete change to my will. By midnight. The silence on the other end of the line was so deep that I almost heard his thoughts.
By midnight? Mr. Vance, that is impossible. Will changes require documentation, witnesses, notarization?
Richard, you charge $500 an hour to solve impossible problems. Consider this $1,000 an hour impossible problem.
$1,000 an hour?
$2,000 if you stop asking questions. Another silence, shorter this time.
What exactly do you want to change?
Everything. I want Maya to receive as much of my estate as possible. Company, properties, investments, everything the law allows.
And Julian?
Julian will receive the smallest percentage possible by law. Not a penny more. No allowance, no bonus, nothing extra. Only the minimum that the law requires me to leave to an heir.
Mr. Vance, may I ask what motivated such a sudden decision?
You may not.
But, sir?
Richard, I have seen enough. The judgment has been made. You have 1 hour.
All right. I will need you to come to my office to sign.
I cannot go to your office right now.
Why?
I looked at my blue janitor uniform, at the fake mustache that was itching. I am busy.
Richard, $2,000 per hour, no questions, remember? All right, I will prepare the documents and deliver them personally wherever you are.
Perfect. Meet me at the Grand Palace in 1 hour. Come in through the back door. And Richard, bring 2 witnesses. I hung up before he could ask more questions. I walked back toward the ballroom and found a gap between 2 service doors. Julian was in the center of a group of friends, gesturing with his champagne glass. Vanessa was showing off the engagement ring. They had no idea what had just happened.
Hey, Robert.
I turned and saw Joe approaching with 2 plastic cups.
I brought coffee for us from the machine, but it is hot. Long night, right?
I accepted the cup. The coffee tasted like dirty water with sugar. Thank you, Joe. And you? Family waiting for you at home? His face lit up.
My wife, Linda, 30 years married, and my son, Marcus, 19 years old, studying engineering at the community college.
Engineering? Smart young man?
Brilliant, Robert. Excellent grades. He got accepted into a big university, one of those with a famous name. But the tuition... Joe sighed and looked at his coffee. We mortgaged the house to pay for his studies. It was the only way.
Mortgage the house?
Yes. The bank gave us the loan using the house as collateral. Now I work 6 nights a week to pay the installments. If I fall behind 3 months, we lose everything.
I felt a tightness in my chest. And the big university? Did he get to go?
He got a partial scholarship, but there is still a lot to pay. He studies during the day and works at night in a restaurant to help out. His dream is to build bridges. Can you believe it? He says he wants to build things that connect people.
And you, Joe, what is your dream? He was silent for a moment.
I had a mechanic shop, Robert, 10 years ago. Small, but it was mine. I fixed cars in the neighborhood. Everyone knew me.
What happened?
Linda got sick. She needed an expensive surgery. The insurance did not cover everything. I had to sell the shop to pay the hospital.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. She is cured, healthy. That is worth more than any shop. He took a sip of coffee. So now this is it. I sold the shop to save my wife. I mortgaged the house to give my son a future. And I work as a janitor, so we do not lose the roof over our heads.
You did all of that for your family.
Family is everything, Robert. Money comes and goes, but the people we love, those we cannot lose.
I stayed silent, absorbing every word. That man had sold his dream to save his wife, mortgaged his house to give his son an education. And still there he was, offering me coffee and genuine concern.
But you know what, Robert? I am happy. My wife truly loves me, my son respects me. When I get home, there is always someone waiting for me, with a warm plate and a hug.
That means a lot, Joe.
It is worth more than anything in that ballroom. He pointed to the party with his coffee cup. Those people in there have everything. Money, cars, houses, but look at their faces. Always wanting more. Always afraid of losing something. I prefer my simple life.
I looked at Joe, 50 years old, worn blue uniform, calloused hands, a man who had lost everything and still found reasons to smile. And I looked at the ballroom. Julian laughing, Vanessa shining, rich people planning how to destroy each other. Who was the truly wealthy one there?
Hey, Robert, are you okay? Your eyes are red.
I rubbed my face. It is the coffee, too hot.
Sure, the coffee's almost cold, but that is okay. Everyone has the right to a moment.
Joe patted my shoulder and stayed there in supportive silence. I finished my coffee and straightened my spine. Richard would arrive in less than an hour. I would sign the documents. And then it would be showtime. I looked at the ballroom one last time. Julian was still laughing. Vanessa was still shining. Enjoy the party, son, because soon the music will stop. Richard arrived right on time at midnight. I signed the documents in the service area between cleaning buckets and boxes of detergent. The witnesses he brought tried not to look confused seeing a billionaire dressed as a janitor scribbling papers worth billions. Now it was showtime. The band stopped playing and the party host announced it was time for speeches. Julian went up to the stage with Vanessa by his side, the two of them holding hands with perfect smiles.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here on this very special night for me and my future wife, Vanessa.
Applause. Vanessa waved to the audience, the golden dress shining under the spotlights.
You know, my father could not be here tonight. Business commitments, as always, but I am sure he is proud of me. After all, soon I will be taking over the family business.
The audience applauded again. Some businessmen raised their glasses in a toast.
It is a new era for the Vance Company. Young leadership, modern vision, and of course, a wonderful wife by my side to support me every step of the way.
Vanessa smiled and kissed Julian on the cheek. The audience sighed with delight. What a show. That was my cue. I began walking toward the stage, slowly, steady, one step at a time. Joe saw me and his eyes went wide.
Robert, what are you doing?
I did not answer. I kept walking. The guests began to notice. A woman nudged her husband. A man frowned. The murmuring grew. 2 security guards positioned themselves in front of me.
Sir, the stage area is restricted.
I know I paid for it.
What do you mean?
You will understand in about 30 seconds. I dodged the security guards and kept walking. They tried to grab me, but hesitated. Nobody wants to cause a scene at a gala party. Julian saw me approaching and frowned.
What is happening? Someone get this janitor out of here.
I kept walking. The entire audience was silent now, 400 people holding their breath. I climbed the 3 steps to the stage. Julian took a step back, annoyed. Vanessa crossed her arms, impatient.
Security! I said to get this man out of here. This is trespassing.
I stopped at the center of the stage. I looked at my son. I looked at Vanessa. I looked at the audience, and I took off the cap. The silence became even deeper. The kind of silence you can hear. I ripped off the fake mustache. The glue pulled at my skin a little, but I did not even feel it. I took out the contact lenses, one at a time. My blue eyes appeared. The same blue eyes that had been on business magazine covers for 30 years. I watched Julian's face change in slow motion. First confusion. His eyebrows came together as he processed what he was seeing. Then recognition. His eyes went wide, his mouth fell open, and finally pure terror. The color drained from his face as if someone had pulled a drain plug.
Dad?
Good evening, Julian. It seems the business meeting ended early. The audience exploded in murmurs. Cell phones appeared in hands. Flashes went off. Vanessa, standing next to Julian on stage, stumbled in her own heels and almost fell. Julian had to grab her by the arm. The golden dress I had paid for swayed with the movement. At the back of the ballroom, Joe let his mop drop to the floor. The sound echoed through the silence.
Dad, what are you doing dressed like this? Why
am I dressed as a janitor at your engagement party? Good question, son. Maybe because I wanted to see how you treat people when you think no one important is watching. Julian swallowed hard.
Father, I can explain.
Explain what, Julian? How you laughed at a janitor being humiliated by your fiancé. How you told me that people of my class do not deserve attention. The murmur from the audience grew louder.
I did not know it was you.
Exactly. You did not know. And that is why it was so revealing. I turned to Vanessa, who was frozen like a statue in a golden dress. And you, dear. Beautiful dress, by the way. Gold suits you. I should know, after all, I paid for it. Just like I paid for the glass of wine you threw in my face. Vanessa turned red, not from embarrassment, from contained rage.
Father, let us talk in private. We do not need to do this here.
Oh, but I think we do need to, Julian. After all, you were planning to force me into retirement, were you not? Maybe even have me committed somewhere with a forged diagnosis? Julian's face turned white. Vanessa's eyes widened.
How did you told you that?
No one needed to tell me. I heard it. I was cleaning a table right behind you two. But of course you did not see me, because janitors are invisible, remember? The audience was in shock. Businessmen exchanged glances, women whispered. The scandal of the year was happening live. Maya appeared on the side of the hall. She looked at me with an expression of complete confusion.
Father?
Hi, sweetheart. Sorry for the show. I needed to find out a few things.
You were the janitor I helped in the small room?
I was. And you were the only person at this party who treated me like a human being. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I stepped down from the stage in silence. The audience parted to let me through. No one said a word. I stopped in the middle of the hall and turned to the host, who was frozen with the microphone in his hand. The party is over. Everyone can go home. The host blinked, confused.
Sir?
I paid for this party. I decide when it ends, and it ended now. The guests began to move, dazed. No one argued, no one questioned. I looked at Maya, who was still standing on the side of the hall. Maya, sweetheart, can you come with me to the office? We need to talk. She nodded in silence, her eyes still red. Then I looked at Joe, in the back, still frozen with the mop on the floor. Joe, I would like to talk to you, please.
With me? Mr. Arthur, I am just a janitor.
Please, Joe. Joe swallowed hard and nodded, completely lost. Finally, I turned to the stage where Julian and Vanessa were still frozen. My tone changed. Julian, Vanessa, you two, in my office, now, immediately. It was not a request, it was an order. Julian tried to speak.
Father, we can talk here.
That was not a question, Julian. It was an order. Office, now. Vanessa opened her mouth to protest, but Julian grabbed her arm and shook his head. For the first time that night, he seemed to understand the gravity of the situation. I walked to the front door. The driver was already waiting. As I passed by Joe, I gave him a pat on the shoulder. Thank you for the coffee, Joe. I will see you at the office.
Mr. Arthur, I came by bus.
My driver will take you. First time in a limousine?
First time in anything with more than 4 wheels. That is not a bus.
I almost smiled. Well, enjoy it. The night is not over yet. I walked out the front door with my head held high. Maya came right behind me. Behind us, the sound of chairs scraping and confused murmurs. The party was over, but the story was not. The office never seemed as big as it did that night. 4 people sitting in front of me. 4 destinies about to change. Maya was in the armchair on the right, her eyes still red. Julian and Vanessa were on the sofa. She was holding onto his arm like it was a lifeline. And Joe was in the chair furthest away, clearly uncomfortable, as if he thought he had walked into the wrong place. I served a glass of water for each one. Nobody touched it. I sat in my chair and took a deep breath. Maya, I am going to start with you. She looked up. My dear, I owe you an apology that I should have made 30 years ago.
Father?
Let me speak, please. She nodded. I was absent during your entire life. I missed your first step, your first word, your school presentations, your graduation. I thought that sending money was enough, that paying your bills would make up for my absence. My voice broke. Your mother did an extraordinary job raising you alone. Everything you are today, everything I admire about you, she built. I only watched from afar, and I regret it every single day. Maya was crying now, silent tears.
Father, I always wanted you to be present. Not for the money, just for you.
I know, my dear, and I am sorry. I got up and walked over to her. I held her hands. You are the person I am most proud of in this world. You had all the opportunities and you chose to serve. You chose to help. You chose to be human. That is worth more than any fortune. She stood up and hugged me, a tight embrace, decades of longing in it. When we pulled apart, I held her face. From now on, my dear, things will be different. I promise. Maya smiled through her tears.
Thank you, Father.
I kissed her forehead and turned to the sofa. Julian was pale. Vanessa tense. Julian, he swallowed hard.
Father, I know I made mistakes.
Julian, stop. Let me speak first. He closed his mouth. I also owe you an apology. Confusion took over his face.
An apology? To me?
Yes. I thought money replaced presents, that gifts replaced hugs. The arrogance you have? Part of it is my fault. I never taught you the value of things. I took a deep breath. But that changes now. The tone of my voice hardened. Monday at 7 in the morning, you will report to the maintenance department of the company.
What?
You are going to work as a cleaning assistant. Minimum wage, no credit cards, no company car, no penthouse apartment, no privileges. Julian widened his eyes.
You cannot be serious.
I am completely serious. You are going to live like the people you consider invisible. You will learn that nobody is inferior to anyone.
For how long?
Until I think you have learned. It could be 6 months, it could be more. It depends on you. Julian lowered his head. I saw tears falling on the carpet.
I understand, Father. I deserve it.
That surprised me. Maybe there was still hope. I turned to Vanessa. Now you. She lifted her chin, defiant.
What about me?
The engagement is over?
What? You cannot decide that.
I am not deciding anything. I am just informing you. You do not love my son. You love his money, and since his money is now minimum wage, I imagine you are no longer interested. Vanessa turned red with anger.
Julian, are you gonna let him talk to me like that?
Julian raised his head. He looked at Vanessa, then at me.
He is right, Vanessa. Leave.
What?
You heard me. It is over. Vanessa stood up, furious. She ripped the ring off her finger and threw it on the floor.
You are going to regret this.
The door is right there. You can keep the dress. Consider it a farewell gift. She stormed out, slamming the door. The silence that remained was almost comforting. Finally, I turned to Joe. He was hunched in his chair, clearly feeling like he was in the wrong place. Joe.
Mr. Arthur, I do not know what I am doing here. I'm just a janitor. This is a family matter.
Joe, you are the reason I am here today, he frowned.
Me?
You treated me like a human being when everyone else treated me like garbage. You offered me coffee when I was covered in wine. You listened to me when I needed to vent. You did not know who I was, but that did not matter. Joe was speechless. You told me about your life, about Linda, about Marcus, about the repair shop you sold to save your wife, about the house you mortgaged to give your son a future.
Mr. Arthur.
The mortgage on your house is paid off, starting tomorrow. Joe's eyes went wide.
What do you mean?
Marcus is going to study at the best engineering university in the country. Everything paid for. Tuition, housing, books, everything. Joe started to tremble.
Mr. Arthur, I cannot accept this.
You can, and you will. Besides, you and Linda are going on vacation 2 weeks, wherever you want. On me. Tears started rolling down Joe's face.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Because you showed me what I had forgotten, Joe. That real wealth is not in the bank account. It is in the people who truly love you. It is in treating everyone with dignity. It is in being human. I stood up and walked over to him. And there is one more thing.
More?
Your repair shop. You said your dream was to reopen it. Well then, I am going to help you, not as charity, as an investment. You run the shop, I come in as a silent partner. The profit is yours. Joe broke down. He started crying for real, sobbing.
Mr. Arthur, I do not know what to say.
You do not need to say anything, Joe. Just promise you will keep being exactly who you are. He stood up and hugged me. A hug from a hard-working man with calloused hands and a giant heart. Maya was crying again. Even Julian on the couch had watery eyes. When Joe stepped back, he held my shoulders and looked me in the eyes.
You are a good man, Arthur. Underneath all that money, you are a good man.
I am trying to be, Joe. I am trying to be. I looked at the 3 people in front of me, Maya smiling, Joe still trembling with emotion, Julian head down, but maybe, just maybe, ready to change. The longest night of my life was over, but a new story was just beginning. 6 months later, I was at my office window at 7 in the morning, drinking coffee and watching the company entrance. The city bus stopped at the corner, and off came my son, Julian Vance, 32 years old, former heir to billions, current cleaning assistant. He wore a simple blue uniform, carried a worn-out backpack, and walked with a different posture. It was no longer the posture of someone who owned the world. It was the posture of someone who finally understood he did not own anything. At the entrance, he stopped to greet the security guard.
Good morning, Carlos. How is your daughter? Did she get better from the flu?
Carlos smiled and answered something I could not hear from up here. Julian patted him on the shoulder and walked in. 6 months ago, Julian did not know the name of any employee below management level. Now he knew them all. He knew about their children, their problems, their joys. I smiled and took another sip of coffee. The transformation did not happen overnight. The first weeks were terrible. Julian complained, cried, begged. He said it was humiliation, that I was destroying his life. I stood firm. In the 3rd week, he tried to use an old credit card to buy lunch. The card was declined. He had to borrow money from a coworker. That was the turning point. Julian came home that night, the simple apartment I rented for him in Brooklyn, and called me crying.
Dad, I had never borrowed anything in my life. Never. And today a guy who earns the same as me saved me from going hungry. He did not even think twice.
And how did that make you feel?
Small, but also grateful. It is strange.
It was not strange. It was humanity. From that point on, things started to change. Julian stopped complaining. He started paying attention. He started learning. He discovered that Maria, from the cleaning staff, raised 3 children alone and still sent money to her sick mother back home. He discovered that Thompson, from the warehouse, had a master's degree in literature but could not find a job in his field. He discovered that people he considered invisible had richer stories than most of the company's executives. And Vanessa? Oh, Vanessa. 2 weeks after that night at the office, she tried to come back. She showed up at Julian's apartment door with tears in her eyes and a rehearsed speech about true love. Julian opened the door, listened for 30 seconds, and said,
Vanessa, my salary now is $1,200 a month. My apartment has 1 bedroom and the shower sometimes runs cold. Do you still want to be with me?
Her silence was the answer. Julian closed the door and never saw her again. I heard from sources that she is engaged again, an oil executive, 68 years old, 3 bypass surgeries. I wish her all the happiness in the world, preferably far away from my family. As for Maya, my 37-year-old daughter keeps surprising me. When I told her about the change in the will, that she would be the main heir, she was silent for a long moment. Then she said,
Dad, I do not want your money.
What do you mean?
I do not need billions. I need you, present, available, being my real father.
I almost cried right there. We reached an agreement. Maya accepted to lead the company's social foundation. No profits or business, just projects that help underserved communities, public schools, education programs. She transformed the foundation into something extraordinary. In 6 months, it already benefited more than 10,000 families, built 3 community libraries, created a scholarship program for children of company employees, and the most beautiful part? Julian asked to help. After his shift in maintenance, he would go to his sister's community projects. He carried boxes, painted walls, read stories to children at the libraries. Maya was suspicious at first, but over time, the 2 of them started really talking. For the first time in years, my children were united. The brother who called her a failure now worked alongside her, sweating through his shirt to help the same people he used to ignore. Maya found a way to use the family money to do exactly what she had always done, help people. And Julian found a way to redeem himself. And Joe? This is my favorite part. His repair shop reopened 4 months ago. It is in the same neighborhood as before, on the same street where he worked 10 years ago. When the neighbors saw the sign, Joe's Auto Shop, being installed, they lined up on the sidewalk. He called me on opening day.
Mr. Arthur, you are not going to believe this. There are people who kept broken parts for years waiting for me to come back. Years. A gentleman brought a carburetor that I fixed in 2012 and said he never let anyone else touch his car again.
That is because you are the best, Joe.
I am not the best, I am just honest.
These days, Joe, that is the same thing. Linda, his wife, came to thank me in person. She brought a homemade chocolate cake and cried for 10 minutes in my office. I ate 3 slices and cried along with her. Marcus is in his 2nd semester of engineering. Excellent grades. He already talks about getting a master's degree. He wants to design bridges that connect isolated communities. Last week he sent me a message. Mr. Arthur, When I build my first bridge, I am going to put a plaque with your name on it. I replied, put your father's name. He is the real builder of your story. I turned my attention back to the window. Julian had just left the locker room and was walking down the hallway with a cleaning cart. He stopped to help a lady who had dropped papers on the floor. He bent down, picked everything up, handed it to her with a smile. The lady thanked him. Julian waved and continued on his way. My son was learning. The phone rang. It was Sandra.
Mr. Vance, Julian is asking if he can have lunch with you today.
Tell him yes, but he pays the bill.
Sir, his salary is...
I know, Sandra. Tell him to choose the place. Any place that fits his budget.
Understood, sir?
I hung up smiling. I had lunch with my son at a diner downtown. Hamburger, French fries, soda. The bill came to $17. It was the best meal I had in years. While we ate, Julian told me about his coworkers, about the stories he was discovering, about how he finally understood what I had tried to teach him.
Dad, I was horrible to everyone, to Maya, to you, to people who did not deserve it.
I know, son.
I want to change, for real.
You are already changing, Julian. I see it every day. He smiled. A different smile, without arrogance, without pretense. A real smile. That night, on my way home, I thought about everything that had happened in the last 6 months. A billionaire dressed as a janitor, a glass of wine thrown in my face, a son who needed to fall to learn how to get up, a daughter who always knew what mattered, and a simple man named Joe who taught me more in one night than I learned in 60 years. Fortunes are built with hard work, but legacies are built with character. And sometimes the ones who teach us the most are the ones we least expect. My name is Arthur Vance. I am 62 years old, and this was the story of how my son humiliated me without knowing I was his father. But it was also the story of how I finally learned to be a real father. And that, my friends, is priceless. Unfortunately, in my world, I see many Julians and Vanessas out there. People who believe that their bank balance defines their worth as a person. But the truth is that I also needed to learn a lesson. Looking at what my son had become, I realized that at some point along the way, I failed as a father. I was so busy building an empire that I forgot to shape the character of the one who would inherit it. They say to err is human, and I made my mistake. But what defines us is not the fall, but what we do to get back up. Life has some very curious ways of teaching us humility. But what about you? Have you ever crossed paths with someone who needed a lesson like this? Or have you yourself had to take a step back to correct a mistake from the past? I would love to read about your experience here in the comments. And if you believe that legacies are built with character and that there is always time to change, leave your like and comment the word humility. This helps this message reach more fathers and sons who might need to hear this today. Do not forget to subscribe to Soulful Love Tales. I will be back soon with more stories that touch the soul. A big hug from Arthur Vance, and until next time.